This isn't your typical motorsports podcast. You're listening to Crush This, a Monster Truck podcast presented by High Octane Coffee and J Concepts. A show where we take you inside the minds of your favorite drivers, past and present, of the monster truck industry. And now, your hosts, Brad Shaw and Dan Chichagash. Buckle in. The show starts now.
And welcome to a brand new episode of Crush This, a Monster Truck podcast. My name is Bradley Shaw, also known as the one and only Monster Truck Canucker. I'm going it alone tonight, just like Dan did last week. I have been under the weather with bronchitis. I had no voice last week, guys. Thank you to Dan for jumping in on the episode with Mark Wheeler. It was awesome to have him back on. And again, thank you, Dan, for covering for me for that episode. I really do appreciate that. Dan's actually heading to West Virginia to be with his family. His dad is recovering from an surgery. We wish Mr. Frank Egosh a healthy recovery. And Dan, I hope you have fun with your family. All right, guys. So today is a very, very exciting episode. I'm pumped about this one. I've gotten to know this man over the last couple of weeks, working on some design stuff with him, which if you guys didn't see the post, we will be unveiling a brand new design and identity for the Watchman Monster Truck racing team. But before we get to that, just a couple news and notes here, guys. We have our merch available. I'm going to bring up the little thing across the screen there so you can see where our merch is located on Spreadshop. Next month, we will have some new designs available. I'm working on a couple right now. Probably going to have about 2 to 3 new designs. I am rocking the rubber side down, shiny side up shirt. I have mine that came in about 2 months ago, maybe last month. I forget exactly when it came in, but I'm rocking this shirt. We also have our crew shirts with 6B Apparel. Chris Bosom with 6B Apparel. Thank you to Chris for all he does for us. Those are $100 a pop. We also have the hoodies. Message me or Dan for that. And we also like to thank our other sponsors, Joy Sylvester and High Octane Coffee. Joy's been out doing the Springfield and the Miami, Oklahoma events with Bad Habit. Go check him out. Go get some High Octane Coffee. The stuff is absolutely kick-ass. We'd also like to thank 6B Apparel, obviously. J Concepts. If you're looking for anything for your scale or anything RC stuff, go check out J Concepts. Fred, Reap, and Jason Rona there. I would also like to thank Nick Davis with Back Channel Productions. Colby Marshall with the MTRC radio control group. Go check out what they're doing. Justin Stories, and everybody else that supports us. We got our comments here. We got John Cadieu. How's it going, John? We got Gregory Nagy. How's it going, Greg? Hello from Detroit. We got Mark. Hey, we're going to have to do it sometime again, Mark. Mark Wheeler there. Lee Plato, Lee and Shane. Hope you guys are doing good. We're working on a little something with Lee with the design stuff. So trying to get that finished before the next month. We got Swerve Photo in here. Time to party. It's an eggnog party. But guys, let's get into it. Our guest today is Mr. Larry Overman of the Watchman Monster Truck Racing Team. Larry, how's it going, man?
Man, brother, it's going great. We're just super excited to be here and looking forward to our visit tonight.
Well, it's kind of funny how you and me got connected. We'll kind of start from there. You've been doing some events with your truck, the Watchman, for the last couple of years now.
Well, a couple months. That truck is brand new in February.
Okay. See, yeah. I wasn't too sure. But recently, Richie Kaiser got a hold of me mentioning that you were looking for a new design for the Watchman, which that'll be, we're going to be working on that.
Yep.
And then also for a new truck, which we'll be unveiling later on here. Talk about, how you got into the sport of monster trucks and just some background about you.
So my background is I've been in oil and gas for years, since 18 years old. And when I was a kid, my first hook into monster trucks was the Ole Anderson Daredevil show that was in Roosevelt, Utah, back in the mid 80s with Destroyer 1 and Big Red. And I got so hooked then that I got all the four-wheeler magazines and all the magazines that had everything to do with off-road trucks. And, then that winter, my dad had surprised me with tickets to the Salt Palace, where I saw the original Taurus, the original Gravedigger,
Oh,
And,
man.
some of the originals, the guys that now you're looking back and going, man, I wished I'd have started this a little bit earlier so that I could have run with them. But have met some wonderful, wonderful people. The Kaiser family, they are all great. A couple of guys we give a hard time to, but they know me enough now that if I'm not giving them a hard time, there's something wrong with me or I don't like them. So if I'm giving you a hard time out there and having fun, it's just because I like you, and it's all about having a family moment out there.
Oh, and I agree. I always give Colton the hard time about wrecking the body.
Yeah. So if you've noticed in some of the pictures that you've seen lately, there is a water bottle stuck in his 2-inch receiver on the front of that truck. That's his bump stop for Pogo. And and Richie goes, God, don't say that. And every once in a while, Colton will send me a picture. The bump stop's still here. So, but yeah, super great people. Even, Mike Vaughter, junior and senior, we've met them and just had some great runs, some great tips. And really the guys that I've come across and had the opportunity and the pleasure of running with, everybody's about keeping each other safe. That was my most favorite thing about running so far is, making sure that you're got everything. If there's a rookie in a seat somewhere, my wife, my daughter, depending on who was in the seat that night, they just make sure that you're strapped in right and help you get everything adjusted while you're just trying to get your stuff figured out. And there's just so much help. And in every event that I've been at with Richie and Colton and Dalton, I mean, those guys are just a hoot and just wonderful people.
So talk about how you got your current trucks. Now, I remember when we were talking on the phone, you told me what your truck it originally was, and it's kind of cool because it ties into somebody that I've done a lot of work for over the last couple of years.
So the Watchman was a brand new build, and that may be where you got the couple of years old, because the Watchman page is a couple of years old. And we started building that truck 3 years ago and coming through and wanting to make sure that we had done certain things to make sure it was like one of the most advanced trucks out there. And right now, I believe we're even the only monster truck running directly coil on plug. VZ Engines out of Southern West Virginia has done a jam up job. My tuner, because we're running all EFI Holly Dominator setup. So we're not even running the sniper system like they were running on some of the Monster Jam trucks. Everything's Dominator, full data log. That truck is truly state of the art. And we've gone through a lot of hiccups and a lot of growing pains with learning how to manage that system. And, we're just now focusing on our suspension setup and making sure our shocks are dialed in so nobody gets hurt. And, and I finally figured out the steering issue because every once in a while you take a hard hit and the steering would lock up for just a second. Dan Patrick has been a huge help, all the way from chassis build to all my axle housings and everything. And when I got a tech question, either him or Ricky will be right on the phone with me to help me out.
Well, isn't the chassis that you've been running has been around for at least a good couple of years now?
So that's the design that you just redesigned the body for.
Okay.
That was actually Zane's original chassis for Stinger. And Benji, Wilderman, trying to remember his last name, and I don't want to butcher it, but Benji took and spent a lot of years completely redoing that whole truck. And we had the opportunity for a little while to run another body, and we got things dialed in there. And the branding timing is just right before the 4th of July stuff hits, to really hit home and bring this new body out that we've been planning to do. We're just doing it a little bit earlier than we originally planned on.
Yeah, because originally it was going to be the Watchman first, the redesign of the Watchman, which will be started soon. Just waiting to get a template for the body. And then you messaged me, and then we started on this design and talk about the theme behind this design, because it's something that, and I've told you millions of times, this is something, straight to my heart too. It's something that I'm very involved in. I talk about it on the podcast all the time.
So with the Watchman, it's about bringing awareness to our military and first responders and the suicide issue that we face across the gamut. We lose a doctor every day, lose a nurse every day, we lose a firefighter, police officer, and we don't ever hear about these losses unless it's somebody just locally in our community. But nationally, we don't hear about that. And back in 2018, a very, very close friend of mine, his daughter took her life at 15 years of age. And the note simply said, I can't do this anymore. Nobody has a clue what that meant. It was just she did what she did and she was gone. And Cannon was a special young lady. She was a very super smart, very artistic. And so after visiting with you for a little bit, we kind of nailed things down to where it kind of flows into the theme of what our whole brand is about anyway, was, bringing awareness. And we decided to go with the mental health theme and bring awareness to mental health in general, coming out of COVID and all the crap our country's going through. People just are having a hard time. Some people reach a pinnacle point and they start looking for a solution, whether they've got maxed out bills, something's going on with their family, when the stresses of life. Sometimes people start looking to put a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Yeah. And that's just the wrong thing to do. And we're hoping to be able to provide information and get that information, get more awareness out there about that.
Yeah. And I've told you my story, and some people on the podcast know my story with my mental health journey, but we might as well get to the unveil, guys.
Let's do it. It's a sexy truck. You did a jam-up job, brother.
I'm so excited, guys. Again, thank you, Larry, for letting me design this. This is something, very important for me too, guys. So debuting the design for the Guardian Angel monster truck. Here it is, guys.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
And it's going to be on a 2010 Ford Super Duty.
Yep. And so this winter, that will actually become a 2023 Super Duty front end. So originally you were mentioning with the wings doing an American theme with it, but then you mentioned the colors of Saint Michael, I believe, right? Yep. And
then so there was a little bit of gold. We took away the gold, added the white, and it flows. It's probably one of my favorite designs I've done yet. It pops off the screen when you're looking at it. Also, huge thank you to Michael Arndt once again for the body template and the chassis template. Mike's been a huge help, with me learning Illustrator and me asking him questions and the body templates. So, when is the tentative date for the debut of this truck?
That truck will actually be debuting next weekend in Radford, Virginia. Not this one coming up, but the following. So the 24th and 25th in Radford, Virginia. And then it'll also be appearing in Marietta, Ohio for the Renegade Tour with Zane. So it'll be kind of a very cool thing for Zane, because that's his original chassis, and then it'll have that other body on it. So it'll be, kind of a bittersweet for him maybe. But Zane has been a huge help to me, with helping me, with information on steering knuckles and, wheel tether kits, and making sure that we had a lot of our other stuff that had to be fabricated, just because work sometimes gets so busy when you're trying to do full-time work, run monster trucks, still have a farm to deal with. There's just a lot going on in life. And so, yeah. And in fact, I just talked to Lee just not 10 minutes ago. Well, actually about 20 minutes ago. And yeah, got a lot of things going on, and looking forward to what we got going on with him down the road.
Yeah. And I'll just bring up the design here. So there is some stuff in the design there. Obviously, on the back, you see the Bradshaw Design logo. Mm-hmm. You have your farm logo underneath that, the Lavender Kisses Farm. And in the purple, you can kind of see it's ghosted in. We put Crush the Stigma, a term that I created, in there, crushing the stigma of mental health. And it's so cool to see that, back on a truck. Have the shield of the Saint Michael shield on the front with the Guardian Angel, the angel wings. It turned out so well and pretty fast too. It probably within about a week and a half, we had the design pretty nailed down.
Yep.
It's I love it when that happens, because it's such a smooth, design,
and it flowed well. And it's like, then you have guys that you would have never known had a problem, and I never met him, but I know a lot of people, and we've talked, about him, that he was such a great guy, and you would have never known he had a problem, was Mike Thompson. When he decided to do his thing, that's just extremely sad. And reach out to somebody. A year ago, my wife and I were having dinner in Paris, Tennessee, at an Italian restaurant, and we're having this conversation with our bartender, and because we sat at the bar to have dinner, or lunch, actually, it was just a late lunch. And there's a lady and a gentleman sitting kind of kitty corner from us, and she kind of looked familiar, but I couldn't place her yet. And my wife had made the comment that she didn't watch TV. And boy, that just really rocked her mind. She could not understand that. And she came over and was talking to us. Well, it was Naomi Judd is who that ended up being. And then a year later, she does her thing where she had taken her life, where she had struggled with mental health. And there's so many people, it doesn't matter how much money you have or don't have, somebody somewhere probably close to you is struggling with a mental health thing. And everybody needs to be reassured that they have somebody to lean on. There's a number to call, whatever that is. Don't be ashamed. People struggle with it all the time. I have several family members that struggle with it. And, you just have to be there to listen. Sometimes they don't need anything else but for an ear to listen so that they feel like they're heard, so that they feel like they're loved, that they're cared for. Whatever that thing is that they're missing, be there for that. Yeah. And that's what we're here to bring awareness to. That's why we want to keep going forward with our whole original thing. It started out military suicide, and that's what the Watchman was. The Watchman means protector of warriors is the actual meaning of it. So we wanted to kind of continue with that theme to just move forward and have a good time while we're doing it, and hopefully cheer up some people that might be just having a bad day.
So we got a couple, we got some comments here. We got Ed Beckley up in here. You're going to be running with Ed Beckley.
Ed is an awesome guy. Love talking to him. Yes.
And that comes kind of full circle too, because the Bigfoot Bad Boy, that's when Bigfoot and Ed had the partnership, and that was the first truck I ever designed. So that's cool. Yep. We also got Jeff Allaire in here.
Yep. Yes. Jeff. And that is a young man that I'm looking forward to. Hang on, bud. September's just around the corner.
Yeah. And it's cool that, there's something coming from me and Jeff, just putting it out there. We're working on something as well. Mm-hmm. We have Joseph Rodriguez in here, Ethan Jones, Taylor Deloney, Wayne Norbury, Eric Anker. We have a bunch of people in here. And you were mentioning, it's people need somebody to talk to. Like, I remember when I was going through the worst of my mental health issues, and I lost myself completely. I was gone. I don't know what was like. My parents didn't even rarely know who I was at the time. Yeah. Going through therapy and having just someone listen to me vent and rant about what was going on and getting help. That was the greatest thing ever I did. And that's why at the end of every show, I say, check up on your friends and family. Like, that's the honest to God truth, because you never know who. Look at somebody like Robin Williams, the one of the funniest men ever to do comedy, but inside he was miserable.
Absolutely miserable.
And that's why I'm so proud to have this design attached to me personally, like as a personal thing, because the journey that I've taken to get to where I am right now in my life, and to prove to people that, hey, no matter what you're going through, you can get yourself out of that and still kick ass and do great things.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people that we've come across with, the guys out at Swerve Photo when we were in Little Rock or in Texarkana, they did some beautiful photographs. And, say I've talked to Jeffrey a dozen times on the phone, and he knows 24/7, 365. He's got my phone number if he ever needs to talk about anything. And anybody that knows me on a personal level, they have my phone number. I don't care. My phone can ring in the middle of the night. I will answer it.
Yeah.
That's just the way that I am. And there's people that I've had disagreements with that are still loved like family. If they called me tomorrow, I would still be there to listen and help. Doesn't matter who they are.
Yeah. And I'm the same way. And, it's going to be so awesome to see this thing being run and just the message behind it, and it's a topic that not a lot of people really want to delve into. It's such a taboo kind of thing. And it's so cool to see you taking such a platform like Monster Trucks and doing this, because like I said, it's something that's been on my heart for years. Yeah. Even before Mike Thompson passed away, I had the idea and a mock-up logo for Crush Your Stigma a year before that.
Yeah.
And this is just so cool. So talk about kind of like how, you know, you got the idea for the Watchman. You were mentioning, it's about the military first responders, and there's a lot of trucks out there that have kind of delved into that. But what
Yep.
makes the Watchman set apart from the other trucks that kind of have the same message?
So we're back up just a tiny bit before that.
Yeah.
So a lot of people that are very close to me know that I had a TV show on Sci-Fi Channel for a couple of years. And that was something I loved doing. I loved playing with the gold mines and all that stuff. And the experience of that put me into a very dark place. And because from the theft to all the different things that happened during filming and dealing with the, haters after filming, and a very brilliant gentleman, and his initials are JR, and that's all I'm going to say because he knows who he is. He is an incredible man, and he's probably one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. And he flat told me, he goes, Larry, if you're not creating haters, you're not cutting it hard enough.
Mm.
And one of their songs that they did, I play it over and over and over again. It was my theme song for a long time. It's called Rockin' the Boat. And that is a great, great song for anybody that's just wanting to just raise a little hell and start cutting stuff hard. And the one thing I will tell anybody is the only roadblock we have in life is ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Amen,
what
man.
you allow to not work around. If you choose to not work around something, then you have allowed that roadblock. So because of the TV show, I had a fan, his name was Bob, and he was just a great guy. He was actually part of the 101st Airborne and part of the group that was Operation Tapeworm that took out Saddam's sons in 2003. And because of him, I met the colonel, and I just call him King Kong, and he knows why. It's a statement he said to me one night on the phone. And when you get I built their original website to get them up and going and was part of that side of it. And we had worked for several weeks getting this website done. And 24 hours before it was supposed to go live, it just was not feeling right. It didn't feel like it should feel. And I'm sure you've done this as a graphic artist where you're almost done and it just is not feeling right. And you erase it all and start over. I erased it all and started over, and I get this phone call, and it's like this away from my ear, and my wife is over here, and she's like going, OMG. And he's like so upset. He's like, and after he got done saying his piece, I said, Rick, I said, have I ever let you down or failed you? And he said, no. And I said, I'm not about to. I was awake for 30 straight hours, got the website done, and the next morning I got a phone call. Larry, you have pulled off a miracle, and it is gorgeous. And so that Battle Forged Nation and the group that actually took up Saddam's sons, they call themselves Battle Force, but they created the group Battle Forged Nation. Jerry Hightower is one of the chaplains of that, and he was actually at the Arkansas show down there in Texarkana. And Battle Forged is the reason why the Watchman was created. 100% the reason. When I was talking to them and I had mentioned, I said, I need to build a monster truck. And they told me, they said, when we get this squared away, we'll make sure you can build a monster truck. Well, in my mind, I was like, okay, knowing the business side of life, yes, marketing dollars for nonprofits can go there, but I would rather that money go somewhere else. Yes, all nonprofits have marketing budgets, but the more money that can go to actually help people and get people pointed in a direction and get their lives straightened out is the one thing that is more important to me than taking money from a nonprofit.
Yeah.
And so the new logo that we're doing, and I'm just going to spell it, the whole entire roof is the Battle Forged Nation logo. And
I'm excited for that, man.
That's the give back. And I talked to Lee earlier tonight that we were talking about, man, I just want to be able to give back. He's like, I'm 51 years old. How do I do that give back? I said, Lee, just don't take marketing dollars from a nonprofit. Find that nonprofit that is near and dear to your heart and give them free marketing. you have a great billboard.
Yeah.
You could even put a QRF code for their donation button right on your side of your truck, and boom, that donation goes straight to them. It don't have to pass through our hands. And he's like, that's a great idea. So, I mean, you're going to see that probably pop up on Lee's trucks, and you're going to see it on my trucks. As soon as I get them to make the QRF codes and we print them out, you're going to see them on my trucks. I don't want to handle any money for them. I want it to go straight to them. I don't want to just make it go straight to their PayPal, wherever, and however that's going to work out. And that's why we do what we do.
Now, with you being in Chester, Canada, did you go pick up some cores or something? I had to throw that in there.
I will tell you this. When we left there, my daughter was playing Eastbound and Down. Or no, she was playing that on the way down there. I said, kiddo, we're going the wrong direction. But yeah, so it's like, and
I had to throw that in there.
Yeah. Oh, Mike Gorell, man, there's some great people popping in here now. There's a lot of people that I've met and know, and yeah, just love a lot of people. And the industry has welcomed me as a newcomer with open arms. But if I feel something that is not feel good in my heart and I can't work through it, I won't do it.
Yeah.
And, sometimes even as we're kind of growing and learning, sometimes even as a young team, we went through growing pains, and we're going through growing pains and trying to get things balanced out and, pay off credit cards and all the things that we kind of have to do to get trucks built and get going. There's just things that we have to work through, and eventually we get there, and sometimes they don't happen the way that we want them to. But I can tell you this without a shadow of a doubt, and not to make this a church thing, but I know that I have failed God a million times, but he has never once failed me. And that's a fact.
Yeah, same here. And I just noticed on the Monster Truck Collecting, Phil Vicenza already posted the picture of the wrap and the design. So thank you, Phil.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, is it Lee's birthday today? Is it actually Lee's Plato's?
Well, I didn't see it pop up on Facebook, but Lee, happy birthday, brother. I'm super proud of that. To know you'd be able to tell you that right here on the podcast. Happy birthday.
Well, it says Karen Dresser, happy birthday to you, Lee. So if it's Lee's birthday, happy birthday, Lee. It's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
Happy
we got you day early.
Lee.
Yeah, and Mike Gorell, he's bought some parts from me. In fact, if I remember right, it was some axle shafts and some older wheels and tires that I ended up deciding that I was going to go with new wheels since it was a new build, and decided not to put older wheels on it. And he's used them and had great luck with them, I believe. And, I just told him, I said, I don't know what these axle shafts are worth. He said, just make me an offer and take them, because I don't know. And if you can use them, I'm not going to. So
let's talk about the truck of the Watchman. Who built the chassis, and what's the specs of that truck?
So the Watchman, and I'm not going to tell you all the specs because I just like to keep some things a secret. But it is a Patrick chassis. Dan Patrick built that truck, and originally we were going to go chase a few world records. I don't know if we're going to do that now or not. The idea of at least one of them is still in the back of my mind, and that's the world speed record. I would like to go after that, but if we don't, fine. I won't do it till we can afford to buy new rubber and everything else. But you would like to have a world record tied to your truck. And if we get there, great. But that's the original intent of that truck, was to be a record-breaking truck. And that's why when you look at other Patrick chassis, you'll notice that there's a few more bracing, a few more bars around the driver, and all of the pillars around the driver's compartment, the A pillar and B pillar, and I think overhead have an additional 1/4-inch sleeve inside, so that you could take a really gnarly bounce and wad the truck up when the driver's still fine.
So it's going to be cool to see what, how your team develops, being a newer team to the industry. And you mentioned, people bringing you in with open arms. And I think that's the one thing about the monster truck industry that I love is as soon as a new team pops into the sport, everybody's there to help out,
They are.
I've seen that for many years, in my time in the business and being a fan. Who are some of you mentioned, Richie Kaiser, Lee, who are some of the other, and Zane, who are some of the other people that have kind of helped you out and kind of brought you into their circle and
oh man, both Mike Jr. and Senior Vaughters have been a huge help. We ran with them at the circus, and I know the circus is a kind of a got a kind of giving guys a hard time, and some parts of it are not real good for the way they do their marketing. It's not necessarily always the best, but at the end of the day, I accepted the job. They paid well, but the guys that really have been is like Kaiser's, Dalton. He's been awesome. Mark Andrews with Wicked Sickness. He's a trip, man. Love the guy to death. He is a trip, and Paul and Ann with Muddy Girl and Backdraft. They've been great to me. Always there with information and help my wife feel comfortable. I've connected those two together, so because they were similar ages, and my wife is like, I'm 53. This truck's gonna beat me to death, and well, no, it didn't. So, and it just her first show ever was on asphalt with no ramps. You were dead hitting cars, and she did a beautiful freaking sky wheelie right into a slap wheelie, and it just was great. And then, it was beautiful, but she bit her tongue, and I'm like, why was your mouth open? But it's like, so we got her mouth guard and got her squared away. And the next day my daughter ran the truck, and she did a beautiful job and just did a great job. She did some great two-wheel action. She was good on racing, and Mike Jr. helped her make sure she was feel comfortable. We had to do some adjustments to the seat belts and move some pedals, and because she's only like 5'4", 5'5", so we had to move pedals around and stuff, and he was there to help us do that and get that moved where everybody was good. And then Ethan Jones. And then I had my wife in the truck in Harrisburg, Illinois, and she did a fantastic job there. And with Swerve up there and the sick power wheelie, the front suspension was not doing its job, so it got a lot of tire bounce off of that. And that's where that wheelie came from. Is yes, it'll hook, it absolutely will. But when you watch the video, you can see the tires compress almost all the way to the wheel, and the shocks did not give at all. Yeah, and with Muddy Girl, yeah, she does a great job. So she's been a great coach for my wife. But yeah.
All I gotta say is power wheelies and slap wheelies beat out nose wheelies and stoppies any day of the week. I'm sorry, but there's nothing like a good slap wheelie. I remember the first time I got to see a true slap wheelie was Jimmy Cretin at Edmonton with Monster Truck Throwdown.
Yeah.
Slap wheelies are still to this day my favorite move.
And
it's cool.
Slap wheelies are fun. And I pulled off. I did one during racing just because I couldn't get the front end to settle down on the other chassis when I was running the older chassis, the old Zane chassis. It just was so hooked so good off the back end, and where the motor is up higher and further back, the way Zane liked them, I don't think Benji moved it at all. And we were in racing, and as soon as I got back in off the cars, the front end wanted to come up, and I'm trying to turn. I was like, come on now. But so, I mean, that's not a race truck. It's a freestyle truck, and we're getting used to that. And, the other truck, the motor is low and forward, so it's got a much lower center of gravity.
Well, it's cool that you're getting your wife involved, and obviously Jeffrey Allaire is going to be driving the truck at some shows and stuff like that. And it's just cool to see, more people getting behind the seat and driving. And, it's cool that, you're getting your wife involved, and it's a family thing. Cause look at Zane, having his wife drive. And then you mentioned the Broads with Muddy Girl and stuff like that. It's so cool to see, husband and wife and just families, continuing on in the sport.
And, when you like, for me, I work full time, and then before show, I'll fly home or pull a midnight run and drive home, depending on what's going on, or the trucks will already be here and I'll fly my wife in. But when I work away from home already, and sometimes those rare weekends where she is there, that's the only time I get to spend with her, unless we get a break at work. And so those moments and times are very special. And, it's like, Jeffrey and I will be at the Veterans Retreat show on September 10th and 11th. Actually, be there for 4 days because there's like all the meetup stuff for a couple days ahead of time, and it's going to be incredible. It's in Aurora, Missouri, and I'm looking forward to that show. I'm really looking forward to first quarter next year with Ed. I mean, that's going to be awesome. And Lee and I were talking about some stuff for later this year, and we might be sliding out west for a little while.
Hey, hopefully one of these days I can make it to see the truck. That's the cool thing, really. Like when I got to go down to Pennsylvania and stuff like that with Zane and get to see Pretty Wicked in person finally and all of that. Like for me as the designer, that's one of the coolest things, being able to get to see my work in action, even if it's just a video or whatever. It's still the coolest thing for me, because I never thought in a million years I'd have my logo on the side of a truck. And here I am working on multiple trucks that are coming out later this year. This one's the next one to be debuted. You mentioned a name of a driver that I've done a design for, that hopefully it comes out this month. So we're waiting on that one. And I think I've showed you the image of that one, and it looks sick.
Yeah,
people aren't ready for that one.
There's a few trucks that are just like, wow, yeah. And you've done some beautiful work. And when Richie reached out and connected us together, he knew. Him and I, we talked for quite a while, and they know at any moment in time they can call me for anything. And most of these guys that I've worked with already, they know they can. Some of the guys that I haven't worked with in a while, they still know they can. And I think everything works out. There's a plan for everything, and everything goes the direction it's supposed to go.
Everything
when you try to fight the plan, and when you try to buck the plan and try to fight to a direction, and you're meeting resistance, that is the wrong way to go. There's a reason why you're meeting resistance. So you need to regroup, change directions a little bit, and then you're going to have less resistance, and you know that you're on the right path.
So let's talk about your first experience behind the wheel, because I like to bring that up with a lot of people. Obviously you kind of grew up watching the sport, and going to some shows. Let's talk about your first time finally behind the wheel, hitting a set of cars.
Rapid City, South Dakota.
How was that moment for you?
Well, let me see. So I didn't really have a clear understanding of what was supposed to happen in the first deal, and it was a 2-wheel competition. And I think I ended up hitting the stacks probably 3 or 4 times before I came back to the pit area, and got in a little bit of trouble. And then, because, everything's on a time schedule, and went out and did racing. Had a great group of people there. Tweeties were there for that. Rodney and Logan, they were both there. I mean, that's 2 jam up individuals right there that are a huge asset to the industry. Tweety family is awesome. I think the other sons are now involved with that whole deal. So, super awesome to know that and watch that grow for them. And then freestyle ended up with a concussion. And I was sick for 2 days, like really sick. The promoter, the floorman guy was like going, go, go, go. We're trying to roll out for freestyle, and I still had one more piece of protective gear to put on. And like an idiot, rather than taking an extra half a second or a second to get it on, I threw it out the window. And then I went over and hit a van stack.
Oh.
And gave myself a concussion, and I was sick. And it was just a bad deal. And it took me about 6 weeks to recover from that.
Oh, wow.
To make for all the pain to go fully away. And it finally did. I finally had to cave and go see a doctor and get some muscle relaxer to kind of get that muscle memory to go away. And it finally did and it only took 2 days after that to make it go away. So, yeah.
Yep.
Protective equipment is absolutely the most important piece of equipment on that truck.
Oh, 100%. And
period.
Like Lee said, the entire Tweety family walk. Shout out to the Tweety family. Shout out to Austin and the Throttle Out show.
Yes.
I believe they're taking a little bit of a hiatus because they're all working for Triple B Motorsports now. So shout out to those guys. Those guys have been an awesome other show as well. No, it's I see. I don't know what it's like to drive, a monster truck. Like I've done it virtually and Riggs and Rods of BeamNG, but I actually am finally getting the chance to drive a ride truck this summer. I'm breaking the news. Don Frankish with Jurassic Attack Ride Truck.
Yeah.
I get to drive his ride truck in Edmonton for just to say that I've done it. So, but it's just, I can only imagine what it's like hitting a car set for the first time. It's like, it's probably going to be like Ricky Bobby. I'm in the air. This is not good.
And at first I thought that, but truthfully, I think my adrenaline was so high that it was not you. It was just all you had in your mind was hit the cars, and it was a packed arena. So, I mean, it wasn't even a little bit, it was a packed arena, and David Reif with the Monster Truck Racing League, man, David's been awesome. He's, everybody, like I say, everybody that I've worked with has just been incredible.
Oh, there's Cheats is in the chat. So is his dad. Hopefully you're feeling better, Mr. Agosh.
Yes.
Dan, hopefully you're doing good. I know Dan's been in Montana and all that, doing some stuff with the Ram dealers. Cheech has recently gotten behind the wheel of one of the Hall Brothers trucks and hoping to see more of that.
That would be awesome.
Getting to, see one of my good buddies and business partner and good friend get behind the wheel finally. It was such a cool moment to see the pictures and the video of that.
And Cheech, I'm actually in Ripley, West Virginia working right now. So if you get time or want to do something before you head back to wherever you got to go, let me know.
Yeah, there you go, Cheech. You guys can meet up and hang out and yeah, Dave Reif with the MTRL. Dave is an awesome guy. Any of the promoters out there, it doesn't matter if it's MTRL, if it even Monster Trucks with a Z, Renegade Tour. It doesn't matter. Like, it's so cool to see how much, like, especially like when the pandemic hit and Monster Jam shut down. It was so cool to see the independent promoters, do their thing. Throwdown, Renegade. Renegade was just starting out at that point in the 2020. It's cool to see even here in Canada shows coming back. You have the Monster Madness with Edge Motorsports. You have even, I'll say, a Monster Jam doing a stadium show in Edmonton, which I'm going to be there. Finally, awesome. Canada getting some shows again. It's exciting. It's going to be an exciting summer, with all these trucks coming out with the Triple B team, bringing back Carolina Crusher on that same body that was used for the Unfinished Business show. It's exciting. It's an exciting time to be a fan,
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And seeing some of these names and the people that I've watched, like going to Patrick's shop, you walk into his little museum that he has there, and that's like virtually my entire childhood. I either watched it on TV or I was there, and it was just great to walk through that. And then, and then we turn around and then we're, next thing you know, we're running with some of these names, and it's just awesome. I mean, all the way around, it's awesome. You got a lot of great people that do really good things from their heart. Drawing a total blank. I was going to give him a shout out real quick because we met him down at Greg Price's down there, tailgater.
Tim Jones.
Yeah, Tim Jones. He has done some really great things for kids, and that when they call in for their Make-A-Wish type stuff. I know he was involved in a Make-A-Wish deal a while back, and made a little boy's dreams come true. Those kinds of things is why we do what we do. Bringing awareness to certain things is why we do what we do. And everybody just has been a huge Monster Truck family. And like all families, we're not always going to all be happy with each other. We're going to have disagreements about the way one thing or another should happen. And at the end of the day, we have each other's back, and that's the way a family works.
And let me bring up Tim Jones for a second, because this past weekend in Miami, Oklahoma, Tim Jones, what are you doing? Okay, trying to do like a mini
body.
He tried to do almost like a mini flip off of just like a little
3-foot jump.
Like, are you kidding me?
I saw that. I was like, wow, that hurt when you landed upside down.
Oh, 100%. But I'm like, and then Jamie Garner, the same show, doing a backflip on using the side of a van stack. Okay, like, what is going on with these people? Like, Miami, Oklahoma is such a special thing for monster trucks. Like, I hope that nobody else does a show besides MAP Motorsports there, because that is such a special venue. Some of the craziest things have happened there. Like, look at some of I hate to say it, some of the wrecks that have happened there, but just it's one of those still true straight line drag events. You know, insanity happens there. Like I said, Tim Jones almost doing a backflip on like a 3-foot tall ramp.
He
Then,
he wasn't far off that.
Oh no,
he almost had it. I mean,
like he had that truck tuned up. Like he had something in that thing that just was something extra for that. You know, that event, and TMB, the Monster Blog, always does killer coverage of that show.
Yep.
You know, they've always done. I remember the Miami Vice intro for that. That intro was good. But Tim Jones, like that dude, ever since he got the even when he had in his other identity, Twisted Addiction, but for some reason it just runs harder when he's got the tailgater. And it's cool because he went with the retro body on the tailgater, so it kind of fits his image.
Yep.
You know, is that a show that you'd like to do eventually? Do the Miami show?
You know, I've watched some of the footage, and once I get more time in the seat and I feel more comfortable, because I'm doing things this week that I've not done to the truck before. You know, all year we've been running 25% underdrive, just to get a feel for the truck, start dialing in tunes, keep temperatures down, just to kind of get a feel for everything. Well, this week I've changed the gears, and I'm not going to say what they are, but all year long we've run 25% underdrive. And now we've changed it and get ready to see a little more speed out of the Watchman.
Ooh, putting a little bit more sauce there. Ed, we did already release the truck name.
Yes,
here it is
sir,
again,
Ed,
guys.
you can.
The Guardian Angel design, which I will be making a Facebook post after the show as well, on the Bradshaw design page / my personal page of it. Again, huge thank you to Michael Arndt of Mike Art Design for the template and the chassis template as well. So, you know, you mentioned also that you're running some Holley Dominator stuff, and because the EFI stuff has kind of growing in the sport for the last couple of years, and you're also running a coil on plug kind of deal, like an LS engine, which because nobody's really done that with
and it's a 572 cubic inch Ford.
Oh,
on
it's
top
even
of
a
that
Ford motor. Nice.
So
I like
it's a
that.
Ford motor. It's a Ford motor, Ford body, and we just, you know, I was talking with Steve Vance, and he's done great things, and you know, he is the Ford guru when it comes to some of these higher tech engines, and we've got worked through the bugs, and it took a while to get this one engineered, and this baby can move. So,
and it's different seeing somebody run the Dominator setup. I know I watch a lot of a guy on YouTube, Cletus McFarlane. He does a lot of stuff with the Holley, EFI stuff,
the sniper stuff.
Yeah, it's what's the advantages of running the Dominator setup compared to the Sniper setup?
So the Sniper setup bolts right on top of your blower, and it's just like having two carburetors up there. Whereas we have 8 injector ports going threaded straight into the side of our blower, and then we have our 8 injectors going into our intake manifold. And so we're running, there's a lot of control, You can tune each spark plug. If you have one cylinder running hotter, you can tune each set to give you more fuel. Like, so if your back cylinders are running too warm, we can put more fuel to that injector, or have that injector put more fuel into the cylinder, help keep the blower cooler, whatever. And we're working through a couple other things with some air idle stuff. We're probably going to have a different air. We'll probably have some things change between now and running in Radford for MTRL. That's going to be a super fun show. My wife is actually going to be flying out to debut that truck out there in Radford. And yeah, man, it's just having great tunability is very, very important. And as far as like power washing and everything, the ECU is in the cabin and everything else is good. Yeah, everything else is good because you got the same kind of rubber seals on all the injectors that you have in your car, and we haven't had any issues with pressure washing at all.
It's cool to see, you know, the EFI technology make its way into monster trucks, because it's been a part of, you know, other motorsports for years now.
Yep.
And it just makes it also, you know, better for emissions. I know it sounds stupid, but it makes it better that way too. And how have you found the coil unplug setup to be with your truck? Is it helping it better than just running just normal spark plugs, like the old school
For a
setup?
while, with the other chassis had a 20 amp mag in it, and we kept shearing the gear off. The roll pin on the gear kept shearing, and I don't know if that was caused by oil pump or if it was just something going wrong with the mag. So VZ sent us a 12 amp to put in there, just out of the, basically out of the kindness of his heart. Because, I said, Steve, I said, I'm going to buy it from you. Just tell me how much. He goes, brother, just hang on to it. So we're running that 12 amp. And since we put that 12 amp in there, we have not had any more roll pin issues. So now the truck's running good. And I think the way our tune is now with that truck, we're running about the same amount of fuel that we run in our mechanical fuel injector truck. So just the regular Enderley injection that we have on the other truck, because it's running a Chevrolet motor right now. And this winter it'll get swapped out for a Ford.
See, I like how I like that. You're Ford body, Ford power plant.
Yep.
You know, that's how the Vaughters have done it. That's how Bigfoot does it. You know, because I know if Bigfoot runs a Chevy body, they have the Chevy motor in it.
Yep.
You know, and I like seeing that, you know, because I'm a Ford guy at heart. Even though I drive a GM truck, I'm a Ford guy at heart. I love my Fords.
Yep.
And it's just cool to see that still happening. So, you know, as we wind down, what's your schedule looking like for the rest of the year, and where can people, you know, come check out the trucks at?
We are going to be, the Watchman will be in York Haven, PA this weekend coming up. Both trucks will be in Radford, Virginia. Then Marietta, Ohio on July 2nd. July 16th, the trucks will be in Paducah, Kentucky. And I know we got a couple in August, but I cannot remember them off the top of my head. And then I know we got our Veterans Retreat that is going to be spectacular. And that's when our boy Jeffrey is going to be at the helm of Guardian Angel. And that's very fitting, you know, going from the veteran ride truck, jumping into Guardian Angel for the weekend. That's going to be jam up. I can't wait to see what he does on that truck.
Yeah, and Jeff has gotten some driving experience with some other teams. I know this past weekend he was getting some experience in another truck there.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope I can make it out to one of these shows. I know traveling from Canada, I wish I was on the other side of Canada. It'd make it easier for travel, but hoping I can at least make it out to a show. You know, that'd be so cool to see, you know, these trucks running, man.
Just trying to think. The motor that I have, the other motor actually came out of Canada.
Oh.
There was a drag car up there called Iron Maiden, and guy was jam up. He was super nice, and Steve said, "Hey, we can't get any more eliminator blocks. If you come across a motor that's an SBO block or an eliminator block, grab it." And this was an SBO block, and it was a 533 cubic inch with a 1471, which is coming off. But he was running crazy horsepower in that drag car, and we're going to switch it and change the blower, downsize the blower a little bit to kind of fit into the rest of our program and have a good time. And we're going to keep it all Ford.
And that's so cool, you know, to know that it's all Ford powered. Is there any social media website people can find you on and you know, find out more stuff about you guys?
You know, the Watchman Racing Team. And if people are passing through Tennessee, look up Lavender Kisses Farm. You know, we have our Highland cows and our lavender, and my wife makes all of our soap products and everything there. And it's kind of fun that when we do this veterans retreat, you know, Sudsy soap is part of that. And it's kind of, you know, my wife is like, "Aren't they a competitor?" I said, "No." I said, "Our product is lavender. We just have soap because we have lavender." And yeah.
So guys, again, thank you, Larry, for coming on. And I also want to mention, you know, check up on your friends and family, guys. And mental health is super important. We talked about it tonight on the show here. If you missed it, you can check it out on either the audio version, which will be uploaded after this, or you know, the replay on YouTube or here on Facebook or whatever. But mental health is important, guys. If you're struggling, if you're going through anything, message me, message Larry.
Yes.
We are here to listen to you guys. If you are struggling, guys, I cannot stress this enough. Like, your life is more important than ending it. There's always hope. There's always there's things that can help you through that.
Do not solve a temporary problem with a permanent solution.
I love that. I love that saying.
That is the most important thing I can say. And anybody that knows me personally, especially if you have my cell phone number, just call me. Call me.
Yeah.
Don't do anything. Just call. I will always take a friend's phone call.
And same here. And Lee just mentioned his inbox is open 24/7. Mine is as well. Yeah. Larry's is. I know Cheech is as well.
And the one thing about me is my conversations always remain 100% private.
Yeah.
And several of these guys that are on here tonight know that we've had conversations and they will never come back out of my mouth.
Yeah. So guys, I believe next week Cheech will announce who we have on the show. It's going to be an exciting one. It's 2 people on the show next week with me and Cheech. I might be there. I might not. I'm moving this upcoming weekend, so hopefully I'll have my computer set up, moved, and everything is set up for that. And yeah, Mike Gorell says he's there for anyone. Jeffrey Allaire. Jeff is a great guy. I've gone back and forth with him on the new design for the veteran. I can't wait for that one to be unveiled. Hopefully we can do it live on the podcast as well. And thank you for allowing us to unveil the truck design on the show as well, Larry. That it means a lot to me. And, it's just very cool to be able to, share the news with everybody. And guys, Radford, Virginia, not this upcoming weekend, but the weekend after is the debut of the Guardian Angel Monster Truck. And I'll put it on the screen here one more time for you guys can check it out.
That's just gorgeous. Yes.
It turned out so perfect. I cannot wait. The colors are going to pop. It's, besides American Scout, it's one of my favorite designs I've done. American Scout still is like there's something about that truck. It's, my first truck in Illustrator. That one will always have kind of my heart, but this one is second place. I love the meaning, and I cannot wait to see this thing debuted, guys. So again, Larry,
we love Detroit too, and I would love to one day take and park both of these trucks on the front lawn of Ford.
Do it. Hey, hey, you never know. You might be coming up to Canada sometime soon. So
you never know.
That'd be cool to see your trucks in Canada. So even though Watchman's America themed, we still, I know here in Canada we have a huge.
You have warriors in Canada too.
Well,
it's a protector of warriors. It's not necessarily American. It's all warriors.
Yep. Hey,
it's a protector of all warriors that fight for freedom. That's what it's about.
And you mentioned the oil and gas industry, and where I live in Alberta, we're oil and gas up here. So,
yes, you are.
Shout out also to the Roughneck and Crude Behavior guys, oil field based, themed trucks. So shout out to Jason and Jared on those trucks. Hopefully you're going to get those guys on the show. But guys, again, thank you for coming to watch the show. Again, thank you, Larry, for joining us. And guys, as we always say on the show, I would spin around in my chair and show you the shirt, but it wouldn't look good. Keep the rubber side down and the shiny side up, everybody. Cheech, hockey sticks unite.
That's awesome. Yes.
All right, guys.
Y'all stay safe. Have a good one.
All right, guys. Peace.